Welcome to the Starborne Awakening Library. Tonight's story is The Open Window. There once stood a small cottage at the edge of a quiet meadow. Its windows overlooked fields of wildflowers, distant hills, and the changing sky. Every morning, sunlight filled the little home. Every evening, the breeze carried the scent of pine and rain. It was a peaceful place. Until one autumn day, a fierce storm swept across the valley. The wind howled through the trees. Rain battered the walls. Branches struck the windows through the night. When morning came, the cottage still stood, but the woman who lived there closed every window tightly. "I won't let another storm inside," she whispered. The seasons changed. Winter gave way to spring. Spring became summer. Yet the windows remained shut. The air inside the cottage slowly became heavy. Dust settled on the furniture. The flowers in the window boxes stopped blooming. Even the birds no longer visited. The woman noticed the silence, but she believed it was the price of staying safe. One afternoon, an elderly traveler stopped at her door. She welcomed him inside. After a few moments, he smiled gently. "May I ask you something?" "Of course." "When was the last time you opened a window?" She looked toward the tightly latched shutters. "I don't remember. The storm taught me to keep them closed." The traveler nodded thoughtfully. "Storms can teach us many things." He paused. "But sometimes they teach us lessons that outlive the danger." The woman looked around her home. For the first time, she noticed the stale air, the quiet, the stillness. She realized she had protected herself from more than the storm. The next morning, she walked to the nearest window. Her hand rested on the latch. She hesitated. What if another storm came? She almost turned away. Instead, she lifted the latch. The window opened only a few inches. A cool breeze slipped quietly into the room. Fresh air carried the fragrance of wildflowers. Sunlight spilled across the wooden floor. Somewhere outside, a robin began to sing. Nothing terrible happened. The next day, she opened the window a little farther, then another. Soon, every room welcomed the morning breeze. The dust slowly disappeared. Fresh flowers bloomed again. The cottage felt alive. Weeks later, neighbors noticed something had changed. Children often stopped beneath the open windows to wave. Travelers paused to admire the flowers. Laughter returned to the little house. One evening, as the sun painted the sky with shades of gold, the elderly traveler passed by once more. He smiled when he saw every window standing open. The woman thanked him. "You reminded me that fresh air and storms come through the same window." The traveler smiled. "Yes, but so do birdsong, friendship, hope, and every sunrise." Years later, whenever visitors admired the bright cottage, they often asked her why she always kept the windows open. She would simply smile, then say, "A closed window keeps out the storm. It also keeps out the morning." Sometimes life asks us to protect our hearts, but healing asks us to open them again, not because storms will never return, but because life itself arrives through open windows. For every sunrise needs an opening through which to enter, and so do we. Modern Fables for the Human Spirit. Starborne Awakening. Remember the light. Embody the light.